It is very stupid to ask this, but I could not find any other place. So, uh, kindly discuss the breaking of the USSR, its reasons, who is responsible for this, and its effect on Indian politics and world politics. No, it is not a stupid question by any means. It's a great question, and so let's deal with this. Why did the USSR break up? So it broke up in the early 1990s, I think, 91 or thereabouts. But the process of the breakup started much before that. So the Cold War between the United States, between the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc, that is between the United States and its allies, NATO, and between the USSR and its allies, the so called Soviet bloc. This conflict was an ideological conflict. It was about which system is better, which system is superior. The Western quasi liberal, quasi democratic, capitalistic system, or the Soviet socialistic system. Which system was better, which system was superior? It was an ideological conflict. And what the Soviets did after Stalin's death, after Nikita Khrushchev came to power, was they started making pronouncements like we are not like basically they were to some extent admitting that their system had problems. So Nikita Khrushchev did that, Brezhnev did that, and then Mikhail Gorbachev started this policy of perestroika and glasnost, which was more openness, more transparency, and more self-criticism. So essentially, what happened was that their standing among their allies and even among their own people started to crumble. It started to fall. That the moral high ground and ideological superiority that Marxism and communism had held, and the Soviet Communist Party had held, it started crumbling. And Mikhail Gorbachev is one of the main architects of this by his policies of perestroika and glasnost. So some people say that he was a Western mole in the USSR. So we don't know how true or false it is, but his actions eventually precipitated what happened in the early 90s when all the other Soviet republics, the Central Asian republics, etc., they all declared independence because over time, because of this perestroika and glasnost policies, the Communist Party lost power gradually. The power eroded away. And then these republics were emboldened enough to declare independence from the USSR. And the USSR broke up overnight. So this was all engineered gradually, step by step, iteratively by the West, by the United States. And they succeeded in the early 90s. So that is why the USSR broke up. It was a great success on the part of the United States. And then they were able to install someone like Yeltsin, who was not a very good leader, and under whose regime the Russian nation basically declined to a very poor state. And it's when Vladimir Putin came to power that he restored gradually the power of the Russian military. So today, even though Russia is not even among the top 10 economies in the world, it's most likely either number one or number two in the most powerful militaries in the world. Even the Americans don't really want to mess with the Russians, and they are developing more technology and much more powerful weapons all the time. So that's why the USSR crumbled. It was all engineered slowly, steadily, gradually by the West. And the policies of Mikhail Gorbachev, perestroika, and glasnost were the last straw which broke the dam. So that's why it broke up. And after it broke up, it did have an effect on India. India was lost. India lost its great benefactor. And the Russian nation that emerged out of the USSR's ruins had a very different approach towards India. It was no longer the same kind of beneficial partner. It was more pragmatic and realistic, and it was not inclined to support India in everything. So India and Russia have slowly drifted apart. India's diplomats were lost. They're still, even today, some of them are still mired in this Cold War mindset. So these things need to change. So it had a great deal of impact on world politics. The whole polarity of the world changed. The world became unipolar for quite some time. Only one superpower was left, the United States. And now we can say that there is a new superpower on the horizon, which is China. So things changed a lot after the breakup of the USSR. It had a great deal of uh, repercussions the world over.